name is Matthew Tate, and I will be presenting today about memory, what it is and why we are constantly forgetting. I find memory and ways to improve memory fascinating because I think of myself as an extremely forgetful person. That's why I have these. As students, we are all trying to retain information that we are taught, to pass a test, to make connections while writing essays, or just to remember your gym clothes before practice. Using this Ned Talk, I want to try to explore how the human brain works in regards to memory, and how students can utilize our amazingly powerful brains to absorb and retain more information. This investigation into our memory must start with why we remember certain events and not others. Often remember times in our lives that have a significant impact. We remember events that trigger emotions, like when we celebrate, such as banquets and parties. We also remember tragedies that cause immense sadness, such as losing the life of a loved one. We even remember the most embarrassing of events, like when we lose a shoe during an outdoor track race, or we spill permanent blue liquid on our shoes in front of the whole AP Bio class. This has no relation to my life at all. How are these memories different than the details in our lives that we forget, such as getting lost while traveling, forgetting names, faces, dates, and addresses? These images and directions that we often forget can leave us scratching our heads in disbelief and disappointment. So why do we forget? As it turns out, humans have processes of sorting these events in our lives, and how we organize our experiences is why we remember some memories and not others. Different memories are stored across different interconnected regions of the brain, but before locating where these memories are stored, we must investigate the types of memories that exist. Our memory is divided into short-term and long-term. Short-term memory enables us to remember a small amount of information in a short period of time. The shortest type of memory is called working memory, which is what humans use to retain information while we engage in other cognitive processes. This includes someone who's recalling the steps to make their favorite recipe of a meal. Long-term memory is made up of 7 different types of memory. Normally when we talk about memory, we think of the explicit memory, which is consciously recalled. These explicit memories can be episodic memories, which are some specific events that have happened to us in our lives, such as celebrating a birthday party or getting lost in a park. Or semantic memories, which can relate to facts or general knowledge, such as Albany is the capital of New York. Another existing type of memory is called implicit memory. These include procedural memory and priming. Procedural or motor memory enables humans to perform actions like communicating or riding a bike, actions that rely on muscles that we have previously used to react in a situation. Lastly, another type of implicit memory is priming. Priming is the effect in which exposure to a stimulus influences a response to a later stimulus. Therefore, priming using images and words to help an individual recognize another word or phrase in the future. For example, when the word green is introduced on a screen, this may lead to an individual processing the word green with images such as grass or trees or the green light of a stoplight. So where are all these memories stored exactly? For the explicit memory, there are 3 areas of the brain involved in explicit memory: the hippocampus, the neocortex, and the amygdala. The hippocampus, located in the brain's temporal lobe, is where episodic memories are formed and indexed for later access. This includes memories such as getting lost in a park. In the neocortex, it is the largest part of the brain, of the cerebral cortex, and the sheet of neural tissue that forms the outside of the surface of the brain. In humans, the neocortex is involved in higher functions such as sensory perception, generation of motor commands, spatial reasoning, and language. Over time, information can be transferred from the cerebral cortex, the neocortex, to the hippocampus for storage of general knowledge, things like knowing coffee provides a pick-me-up. The amygdala, or an almond-shaped structure in the brain's temporal lobe, attaches emotional significance to memories. This is particularly important because strong emotional memories, such as associated with shame, joy, grief, or love, are difficult to forget. The permanence of these memories suggests that interactions between the amygdala, hippocampus, and neocortex are crucial in determining the stability of a memory, that is, how memories are effectively retained over time. The amygdala also plays a key role in forming new memories, specifically related to fear. Fearful memories are able to be formed only after a few repetitions. This makes fear learning a popular way to investigate the mechanisms of memory formation, consolidation, and recall. Such these fear memories are PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, which comes from fear memories such as being tortured or being in the army, experiencing those types of fears. The implicit memory are stored in the basal ganglia and the cerebellum. In the basal ganglia are structures lying deep within the brain and are involved in a wide range of processes, such as emotion, reward processing, habit formation, movement, and learning. They are particularly involved in co-coordinating sequences of motor activity that would be needed when playing a musical instrument, such as dancing or playing basketball. The cerebellum, a separate structure located in the rear base of the brain, is most important for fine motor control, the type that allows us to use chopsticks or press the piano key a fraction more slowly. This working memory is found in the prefrontal cortex, or the PFC, which is a part of the neocortex that sits in the very front of the brain. It is the most recent addition to the mammalian brain and is involved in many complex cognitive functions. It is used for the short-term memory, like remembering details from the conversation that you just had. Now you may be thinking, how can this relate to our lives? How can understanding these different types of the brain and memory, where they're stored in the brain, affect how we are and as students to be able to retain information? By using our knowledge and memory, we can try to find the best ways of us to retain information, such as while we are studying. With the evolution of modern technology and the rise of internet use, it may seem like paper textbooks are becoming obsolete. However, a 2013 study of university students found that reading textbooks was less likely to encourage multitasking, and students would be less distracted from the text. Less distractions mean that the brain is focusing more on the reading and be able to obtain more information than it was redirecting focuses onto other topics while using your phone. This increased use of cell phones in our lives causes us to become more distracted and may also result in missing out on much needed sleep. Not only does sleeping provide an insufficient amount have a negative effect on our brain, a lack of sleep can impair attention and our short-term memory. This is not to say that all cell phone internet use is bad to our memory. Programs such as Khan Academy and Quizlet offer helpful tools for studying informational videos, which can reinforce the ideas that we learned in class. Lastly, one strategy that many, if not all high school students have faced at one point in time is cramming, or waiting to the last minute to study for a test. While cramming over a test is preferable over not studying at all, this strategy is not the best for memorizing information. By spreading sessions out, using a technique called spacing, the brain is able to remember more information than by skimming through a large amount of information in a short period of time. By using a spacing study strategy, the connections between neurons or synapses in our brain are strengthened because they are more activated through repetition of studying. This is why looking at a flashcard for many students is an effective method of studying. By using these strategies, it is evident to see why that our understanding of the brain can be so helpful to how we operate in everyday situations. Lastly, I would like to talk about a disease which affects millions of people around the world. There is no known cure for this disease, and unfortunately, a new study from Rush University Medical Center published that the number of people with Alzheimer's disease is expected to triple in the next 40 years. Alzheimer's is a neurodegenerative disease, which means that over time, our brain tissue has fewer and fewer nerve cells and connections. This progressive cell death can have gradual, yet serious effects on the memories of the affecting individual and can interfere with daily tasks, such as driving or preparing meals. This disease can also have a dramatic effect on the lives of loved ones of the people suffering from this disease, as the people suffering from Alzheimer's may forget the names of family members and fail to recognize their loved ones. While there is no known cure for this disease, there are many treatments available for patients, and there are activities for people to improve their memory and brain functions, such as card games or activities like doing Sudoku or crosswords. Therefore, it is important that we as young people take care of our mental health by getting enough sleep and doing positive activities that stimulate our brain. So to conclude this presentation, I have a question for all of you that will test your memory. What was the strange image found on the first slide of my presentation? Caleb?
Is it a llama?
No, that's on the right side.
If you guessed this llama, you would be correct. What is more important about guessing the image correctly is asking ourselves, why did this image stand out to our brains in the first place? Was this image so random and funny that it attached emotional significance and was attained by our amygdala? I believe that remembering and retaining information related to our emotions is how we best retain information. This is how learning in schools individually should be all the time. It should be exciting, surprising, stimulating, and even a little unconventional. As active participants in this world, we should not rely solely on school to provide us with knowledge. We should be advocates to our own learning, taking new ideas in ways that work best for us. Whether it's through reading a textbook, watching videos, or discussing the latest technological breakthrough or news report with friends and family, we should strive each and every day to remember, for all those people who are feared that they will forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right, next up is Jill.